The billionaire burst into the room and froze when he saw his twin daughters curled against the nanny's body on his bed, sleeping like they had finally found peace after months of terror. His mouth opened, but no sound came out. For a moment, he could not move. These were the same girls who attacked every caregiver. The same girls who screamed until their voices gave out. The same girls who would not let even him touch them. But here they were, lying with their heads on Sophia's arm, their tiny hands gripping her shirt, breathing softly like they were safe for the first time. "What is this?" Alexander whispered, stepping forward slowly. "What are they doing on my bed with you?" Sophia did not wake up. Her face looked exhausted, hollow, like someone who had fought a silent war through the night. The twins only pulled closer to her, one resting her cheek on Sophia's shoulder, the other clutching her sleeve like she was afraid someone would take her away. Alexander's voice rose, cracking. "Sophia, wake up. Tell me what happened. Why are my daughters only calm with you? Why?" Sophia opened her eyes slowly, disoriented for a second, then startled when she saw Alexander standing over them. Before she could move, the younger twin whimpered and reached for her again, desperate even in sleep. Alexander's heart twisted. "Sophia," he said quietly but sharply, "my girls have never slept like this. Not since their mother died. Every nanny ran. Every therapist quit. Even I couldn't reach them. But you, a simple nanny, they cling to you like their whole world depends on it." Sophia looked down at the sleeping girls, her eyes filling with tears. She tried to hide them. "Sir, please do not wake them," she whispered. "They cried for hours last night. They cried until they could not breathe. They needed someone to hold them." Alexander stared at her like he was seeing a truth he was never meant to discover. "What did you say to them?" he asked. "What did you do that no one else could?" Sophia shook her head slowly. "I did not say anything, sir. I only stayed." Alexander felt a sharp pain in his chest. "Stayed," he repeated. "Are you telling me they sleep like this because you stayed with them?" Sophia wiped a tear with the back of her hand. "Your daughters are not difficult, sir. They are lonely. They are terrified. They are crying for someone who will not leave." Alexander stepped back, shaking his head, his breath unsteady. "And they think that someone is you," he whispered. Sophia pressed her hand gently on one girl's back. "Because when a child loses a mother, sir, they search for the nearest heartbeat that feels like hers." Alexander felt his knees weaken. The twins did not choose her. They recognized her. And for the first time since their mother died, Alexander understood something terrifying and beautiful at the same time. His daughters were not broken. They were grieving. And Sophia was the only one who heard their grief. Before we dive deeper into this heart-wrenching story, please make sure you subscribe, like the video, and turn on notifications. Your support helps this channel grow and brings you more emotional stories like this one. Now, sit back and listen carefully because what happens next will touch your soul. The room stayed silent after that truth settled. A silence so heavy that Alexander felt it in his bones. He stood there, watching his twins cling to Sophia like she carried the warmth they had lost. Their small bodies rose and fell gently on the bed, their cheeks still damp from tears, their hands holding her clothes with quiet desperation. Nothing about the moment made sense to him, yet everything about it shattered him in a place he had kept sealed for years. Sophia sat with her back against the headboard, tired eyes half open, her hands resting on the girls as if she had been holding them forever. She looked calm, but Alexander could see the exhaustion hiding beneath. It was not the tiredness of hard work. It was the tiredness of someone who carried pain without complaint. He stepped closer, his voice low. "Sophia, tell me what happened tonight." She looked up slowly. Her voice was soft, careful, like she feared disturbing the peace. "Sir, they woke up screaming," she said. "They called for their mother. Then they called for you. Then they cried again because they thought no one was coming. When I entered, they were trembling. They asked if I could stay until the fear stopped." Alexander looked down at his hands. He had no excuse for why he never heard them the way she did. "Why did they let you hold them?" he asked quietly. "They push everyone away. They fight. They scream." Sophia lowered her gaze to the twins. One of them shifted in her sleep and curled closer to her side. She placed her hand on the girl's back, soothing her instinctively. "They were not pushing people away," she said. "They were pushing the fear away, but the fear was too strong. When I sat beside them, they reached for me. They held my hand like they were afraid of falling." Alexander felt a lump in his throat. He sat on the edge of the bed, keeping distance. "I did not know," he whispered. Sophia nodded gently. "They do not want you to see them like this," she said. "They think you already carry too much." Alexander lowered his head. The weight of her words crushed him. He remembered nights he walked past their room, assuming silence meant sleep. He remembered mornings when they sat at breakfast with empty eyes, pushing food around. He remembered their quiet at the funeral, their small hands shaking when hugged. And he remembered how quickly he buried himself in work, thinking distance would heal him. But children do not heal like adults. They carry pain like air. "Did they tell you anything?" Alexander asked, voice steady. "Anything they could not tell me." Sophia hesitated, then spoke carefully. "They said they feel alone, sir," she said. "Even when the house is full, the rooms feel too big. The nights feel endless. They are scared of losing anyone else." Alexander closed his eyes. "They think people will leave," he said quietly. "Yes," Sophia replied. "Their mother left. The nannies left. Anyone who stayed close for a while left. So now they hold on to the first person who gave them a safe place to rest." He looked at her slowly. "And that person is you." Sophia exhaled, her voice trembling. "They only needed someone who would not pull away when they cried," she said. "I stayed. That is all." Alexander shook his head. "It cannot be that simple." Sophia brushed hair from the older twin's forehead. "Sometimes it is," she whispered. "Sometimes children only need one steady heart to remind them the world is still safe. Tonight, they held on to me because they were afraid their mother would not return. They cried until their bodies ached. I told them I would stay. They believed me." The words struck deep. He watched his daughters again. Really watched them, not as difficult children, not as burdens, but as little girls drowning in silence. Their fingers tightened whenever Sophia moved. Their breathing calmed only when she touched them. "Sophia," he said softly, the question painful. "Why do you understand them this deeply?" For a moment she did not answer. She looked at her hands, then at the girls, and her voice fell into something quiet and old. "Because I know the fear that keeps you awake," she said. "I know what it feels like when someone leaves and the world stops feeling safe. I know the silence that hurts. They feel what I once felt. Alexander stared at her, realizing she spoke from a scar, not imagination. He wanted to ask more, but the sadness in her eyes stopped him. The moment was too fragile. The girls too peaceful. Sophia too weary. Instead, he asked the thing that haunted him most. Sophia, he said slowly. Why did they sleep here on my bed? Sophia looked at the blanket. They said your room smells like their mother's perfume, she answered. They said it feels close to her. They miss her, sir. They miss her so much. Alexander felt everything inside him collapse. He had lived in a house of ghosts, yet never saw the darkness his daughters walked through each night. He worked. He provided. He grieved alone. But he never asked what their grief sounded like. And now the only person who heard it was the nanny he barely noticed when she arrived. He sat silent, feeling the weight of his failure and the quiet miracle before him. His twins were grieving, and Sophia was the only one who stayed long enough to hear their hearts cry. Morning light crept into the room slowly, touching the sleeping twins' faces. Sophia had not moved much, her back stiff, her arms numb from holding them. Yet she stayed still because she refused to break their peace. Alexander remained at the bed's edge, watching, trying to grasp how one night changed everything. The girls breathed softly, hands still on Sophia's arm. She brushed one cheek gently, careful not to wake her. When she looked up, she found Alexander still watching. His face showed exhaustion, not from lack of sleep, but from guilt and fear. Fear he had lost too much time. They will wake soon, Sophia whispered. I should move before they notice. Alexander shook his head. Do not move yet, he said gently. Let them wake naturally. Sophia nodded and looked down at them. Her heart softened. Their mother had held them the same way once. She had no memory of that woman, but she felt the love still living in these girls. After minutes, the older twin stirred. Her eyes opened slowly, confused by light. Then she saw Sophia and pressed closer. You stayed, she whispered. Yes, Sophia said softly. I stayed. She closed her eyes, relieved. The younger twin woke next, reaching for Sophia. She held her hand, and the girl relaxed. Alexander watched with a heavy heart. Girls, he said softly. Come here for a moment. They did not move. They held Sophia tighter. Alexander felt the sting. He spoke quickly. Do not worry. I am not taking her away. I only want to talk. The older twin sat up slowly, still clutching Sophia's shirt. Promise, she said. I promise, Alexander replied. She is not going anywhere. The girl let go carefully, watching him. She moved to his lap. The younger followed, leaning against his chest hesitantly. Alexander wrapped arms around them, unsure. He held gently, afraid to break the moment. You scared me last night, he said. I did not know you were hurting this much. The girls stayed silent, looking away. Sophia stood slowly, legs shaky, and stepped toward the door to give space. Do not go far, the younger twin said suddenly, voice fearful. I will be right outside, Sophia said softly. I am not leaving the house. Only then did she relax. Alexander watched the fear in their eyes as Sophia left. When the door closed, he looked at his daughters. Tell me what you feel, he said low. The older twin gripped his shirt. We miss Mama, she whispered. At night, everything feels cold. We hear her voice, then we cannot breathe. Alexander's heart shattered. He pulled her closer. You can tell me these things. The younger looked up. You cry alone, she whispered. We hear you, so we cry alone too. Those words struck harder than anything. He had cried in his office many nights, thinking they slept. He never knew they heard through walls. Children notice absence more than presence. I am sorry, he whispered. I should have stayed with you. I should have listened. They leaned into him, silent. After long quiet, Alexander asked the fearful question. Why do you trust Sophia so much? The older twin looked up. She holds us when we shake, she whispered. She sits with us when we cry. She does not look away. The younger added, she feels sad like us. We feel it. Alexander closed his eyes. They were right. Sophia carried quiet sorrow she hid well. But children sense shared pain. He kissed their heads. I understand. When they left his lap, Alexander told them to prepare for breakfast. They hesitated, glancing at the door. He reassured them Sophia was near. They walked out slowly. Alexander waited, then entered the hallway. He found Sophia leaning against the wall, hands clasped, head down. Thank you, he said quietly. Sophia lifted her eyes. I only did what anyone would, she said. No, Alexander replied. Not anyone. Many walked away from them. You did not. She looked down, uncomfortable with praise. They are precious girls, sir. They are just afraid. Grief makes children cling to anything steady. And I did not see it, Alexander said, voice heavy with failure. You saw the behavior, she said gently. But not the pain behind it. It happens to many parents. Her words did not comfort. They only showed how far he had drifted. They walked to the dining room. The girls were seated, watching the door. When Sophia entered, their faces softened. Fear left their shoulders. Alexander noticed something else. His home felt warmer with her in it. He felt the shift. Something deep had changed. As the four sat at the table, Alexander knew this was only the beginning. The storm inside his twins had just revealed its true shape, and Sophia was the only one who could guide them through it. Breakfast passed quietly, careful. The twins stayed close to Sophia, eating slowly, eyes lifting to check she was there. Alexander watched, realizing how deeply fear had taken root. The house looked the same, but the air felt different, vulnerable, fragile. When finished, the girls asked to play in the garden. Alexander agreed, but they only went after Sophia walked with them. He noticed they placed themselves on each side of her, guarding her from vanishing. Alexander followed with his eyes, then turned to Sophia. They cannot be without you, he said softly. Sophia lowered her head. They fear what they cannot name, sir, she replied. Children hold on to anyone who makes their heart feel safe. Alexander nodded, thoughts heavy. Sophia, there is something I need to understand. You said you know the pain they feel. How? Sophia's fingers tightened. She glanced to ensure the girls were out of earshot. When she looked at Alexander, her voice dropped. I was 7 when my mother got sick, she said. She worked 2 jobs to keep us fed. She never complained. She smiled even when pain kept her awake. One evening, she hugged me too tight. She said she was going to the hospital for treatment and would be back soon. I waited by the window all night. Morning came. She never returned. Alexander felt his chest tighten. Sophia continued, eyes distant. I cried until I had no voice. I slept by the door every night, thinking if I stayed close to where she left, she would find me. People tried to move me, but I fought. I could not breathe without her. I could not sleep. That is why I understand their pain. Their small hands searching for someone gone. They're shaking in the dark. The fear of waking to an empty space. Their grief feels like mine once did. Alexander leaned back, speechless. He had never heard her speak so personally. He had never seen tears shine unspoken in her eyes. I am sorry, he said finally. I did not know you carried this. Sophia shook her head. I do not say it for sympathy, sir. I say it so you understand why they come to me. When they cry, I hear the child I was. When they reach for me, I remember reaching for a hand that never came back. Alexander lowered his gaze. Her words wrapped around silent places in his heart. A loud crash echoed from the garden. Alexander tensed. Sophia rushed out, Alexander close behind. They found the younger twin beside a broken flower pot, hands shaking. The older stood nearby, eyes wide. Sophia knelt immediately, hands gentle on the girl's shoulders. What happened? She asked softly. I tried to reach the high flower, she whispered. It fell. Papa will be angry. Alexander stepped forward. No, he said gently. I will not be angry. The girl's lips trembled. You always get mad when things break. Alexander felt the words cut deep. His voice softened. I was wrong. I did not understand what you were feeling. But I am here now. You do not have to fear me. He picked up the pieces. Inside was a small photo the girls had hidden, a picture of them with their mother in the garden, laughing, her arms around them. Alexander stared long, then whispered, You wanted to be close to her. Both girls nodded. Sophia took the younger's hand. It is okay to miss her, she said. It is okay to want to feel her near. The older twin stepped forward, tears forming. We miss her every day, she said. We try not to cry because we do not want to make you sad, Papa. Alexander knelt between them, hands on their backs. I miss her too, he said, voice breaking. I should have cried with you. I hid my pain and left you alone with yours. The girls leaned into him slowly, then fully. He held tighter than ever before. Sophia watched quietly, heart warmed yet aching. She knew grief had no quick path. It needed time, patience, moments like this where truth broke silence. Later, the girls pulled away, wiping tears. Sophia guided them to sit on the bench. She sat between them, heads on her shoulders. Alexander sat opposite, watching. He had achieved much, wealth, success, but nothing compared to his daughters finding comfort in a woman who entered their home as a nanny. They trusted her heart. They trusted her pain. They trusted her presence. Then Alexander realized something breathless. If Sophia ever left, everything would shatter again. He was beginning to see the depth of what she gave without asking return. But peace would not last. There were people in the mansion who disliked how much the girls depended on her. People who whispered. People who believed a nanny should never be this close. Trouble was brewing in the shadows. The day moved gently, everyone careful around the girls' feelings. The twins stayed near Sophia, holding her hand moving room to room. They played, drew pictures, whispered secrets only she heard. Alexander watched quietly, trying to grasp this sacred bond. Sophia guided with gentle voice. She corrected without raising tone. She laughed softly at their drawings. She wiped tears when memories hurt. Alexander noticed she never rushed their emotions. She let them grieve as only children can. In the afternoon, the girls napped on the couch, heads in Sophia's lap as she stroked their hair, eyes tender. Alexander stood at the doorway, afraid to disturb. "You care for them as your own," he whispered. Sophia looked up, startled. "Children only need one thing, sir," she said softly. "Someone who listens when the world feels heavy. I try to be that person." Alexander walked closer, sat opposite. He studied her face, her quiet strength. "I want to understand," he said gently. "Why do you give so much? Most people do not." Sophia looked at the girls. "I know how it feels when no one stays long enough to hear your pain," she said. "When I see them, I see myself. It is not a choice, sir. My heart simply goes to them." A knock interrupted. It was Mrs. Lawson, the head housekeeper, rarely hiding opinions. She glanced at Sophia sharply, then the sleeping girls. "Sir, may I speak privately?" she said. Alexander stood. "Not now. The girls are resting. Sir, it is important." Alexander stepped out, closing door. Mrs. Lawson wasted no time. "This attachment is unhealthy," she said. "The girls will never cope if they cling to a nanny. It is improper." Alexander felt frustration rise. "They trust her because she gives comfort," he said. "Something missing for too long." Mrs. Lawson shook her head. "People talk. Staff say she acts like their mother. That is not her place." Alexander's anger grew. "The girls choose her because they feel safe. Their needs come first." Mrs. Lawson hardened. "I have served this house 18 years. I have seen women take advantage of grieving families. Be careful." Alexander's voice sharpened. "Sophia has done nothing wrong. She has given my daughters more peace than anyone here." Mrs. Lawson paused. "Be cautious, sir. Sometimes kindness hides intention." Alexander said nothing. He returned to the living room, upset yet frightened by planted doubt. Could such gentle kindness hide darkness? He hated the doubt. Sophia was adjusting the girls carefully. She looked up, smiled softly, returned gaze to them. Alexander sat, mind restless. Doubt and gratitude battled. Hours later, the girls woke. Alexander took them to the lake on the property. Sophia followed quietly. Sunlight touched their faces. For a moment, they looked like ordinary children, picking stones, skipping them, holding Sophia's hands. Alexander stood by the water, watching her tie shoelaces, wipe faces, laugh at small jokes. Her patience was rare, he could not deny. The girls needed her because she understood in ways no one else could. As sun set, Sophia carried the tired younger twin, older holding her hand, leaning against her. Alexander felt warmth and confusion. His children healed because of her. His home lived because of her. He wondered what life was before her. Inside, the girls asked for bedtime stories. Sophia read softly, hand in their hair. Eyes grew heavy, breaths slowed, sleep came. Alexander watched from door. When she finished, she stepped away. "Thank you," Alexander said. "Good night, sir." But as she left, Alexander noticed her hand trembling. She hid it, but he saw. Something troubled her deeply. Night settled quietly. The girls slept peacefully. Sophia checked their room one last time, ensuring peace before leaving. But in the hallway, tremor returned to her hand. She pressed fingers to stop it, but weakness lingered. Her heart carried unspoken weight. Alexander watched from the hall's end. He had waited, thinking, trying to understand why someone giving so much warmth looked so burdened. When she noticed him, she straightened, lowered eyes. "Sir, I was just checking," she said softly. "I know," Alexander replied, approaching. "I saw how peaceful they are." "They had a heavy day," she said. "Grief tires children deeply." Alexander studied her. "Something troubles you," he said gently. "I saw your hand shaking." Sophia stiffened. "It is nothing, sir. Only tiredness." Alexander did not believe. He saw deeper sadness. "Sophia," he said quietly, "you can tell me if something is wrong." Her breath caught. She shook head. "Some things are easier kept inside," she said. "They trouble no one hidden." Alexander ached. "But they trouble you," he said. "And you carry them alone." Sophia looked away, fearing emotions breaking. "Sir, please. You have enough worry." He wanted to press, but stopped. She was not ready. She had opened enough for his daughters. Her own wounds remained guarded. "All right," Alexander said softly. "But no, if you ever need someone to listen, I am here." She looked up, surprised by gentleness. Long since someone offered her comfort. "Thank you, sir," she said quietly. Footsteps approached. Mrs. Lawson appeared, arms crossed. She paused, seeing them together. "Sir, a word," she said firmly. Alexander sighed, stepped aside. Sophia walked away, steps heavier. Mrs. Lawson leaned close. "This is worsening," she said. "Staff talk. The girls refuse anyone else. You let her act as mother. It is wrong." Alexander closed eyes. "I do not care what staff say," he replied. "The girls need her. They need boundaries," she said. "If she leaves, they will shatter." "Stop this. They already shattered when their mother died," Alexander said. "Sophia helps them heal." Mrs. Lawson tightened jaw. "You let emotion cloud judgment. She is only a nanny. She should not hold such power." "This is not power," Alexander said. "This is two children breathing again." Mrs. Lawson did not yield. "You put family at risk. You do not know who she truly is." The sentence struck. "What do you mean?" "I checked references," she said. "Things do not add up. No full address. Documents incomplete. I do not trust her." Alexander stepped back. "Why investigate without telling me?" "Because someone must protect this house." Alexander stared, torn between alarm and anger. "Leave this to me," he said firmly. "No more investigating." Mrs. Lawson wanted to argue, but tone stopped her. When she left, Alexander stood with growing storm. Doubt whispered. Sophia showed only care. Yet words lingered. What if something hidden? He walked quietly to the kitchen to check on Sophia, not to question, but to ensure she was okay. At the doorway, he found her at the sink, head down, shoulders tense, quietly crying. "Sophia," he said gently. She turned fast, wiping tears. But he had seen. "I am sorry, sir," she said. "I do not like being seen this way." Alexander stepped in. "Did someone say something?" She shook head. "No, my mind gets heavy sometimes." He wanted to reach out, but held back. "You do not have to carry everything alone." "Not anymore." Sophia breathed deep. "Sir, I am fine." But she was not. Sadness grew. Hands trembled. Heart carried old weight. Then Alexander saw an envelope on the counter with her name. She tried to hide it, but he saw fear. What is that? He asked quietly. Sophia froze. Voice weak. Nothing, sir. Just from my past. But the paper held truth she avoided. Truth that would change everything. Sophia clutched the envelope, knuckles white. Alexander stepped closer, voice soft. Please, let me help. Whatever hurts you, you do not have to hide. Her eyes trembled. She looked at envelope, then slowly opened with shaking hands. Papers slid out. Alexander gently took one that fell. Letters made his breath slow. A shelter notice months old stating Sophia had no permanent home. Medical records for her mother, unpaid. And a letter from her mother before death. Sophia pressed hand over mouth, holding back sobs. Alexander read slowly. The letter. My dear Sophia, if you read this, know I loved you with every piece of me. I am sorry I left. I fought to stay. Do not let grief swallow you. Give your love to those who need it, as I gave mine to you. Your heart is strong. Do not hide it. Tears gathered in Alexander's eyes. He looked at Sophia with deep ache. You have been alone so long, he whispered. Sophia lowered head. After she passed, I had nowhere, she said. I worked in homes, but no one kept me long. Some disliked how children attached to me. Some thought I cared too much. You were never the problem, Alexander said gently. She wiped tears. I did not want your girls to feel the emptiness I knew. When they cried for their mother, I heard myself. When they trembled, I remembered. I tried to be what I needed as a child. Alexander stepped closer. And you were, he said. You became exactly what they needed. Sophia broke silently, leaning against counter, shoulders shaking. She tried to hide. Alexander handed letter gently. She held it to chest, closing eyes, feeling memories long locked. When she looked up, she whispered, Sir, if you want me to leave, I understand. I never meant to take a place not mine. Leave, Alexander repeated, voice breaking. Why would I want you to leave? You saved my daughters. You saved this home. You brought light where darkness lived. But your housekeeper thinks I am danger, she said. Others think I am too close. I do not care what they think, Alexander replied. I care about my daughter's healing because of you. Sophia looked away, tears falling. Come with me, Alexander said gently. There is something you need to see. She followed upstairs. He opened the twins' door. The girls were awake, sitting up, eyes searching for Sophia instantly. Sophia, they cried softly, reaching. She walked slowly. They wrapped arms around her waist, holding tight. Alexander watched, realizing bond deeper than anything witnessed. Sophia, he said, tell them what you told me. She shook head. They do not need my sadness. Yes, they do, Alexander said gently. They need to know they are not alone. Sophia sat on bed edge. Girls looked up with wide eyes. I lost my mother too, she whispered. Long ago. I cried the same way. I felt alone the same way. Girls leaned closer. But you helped us, older said. You stayed. And you stayed with me too, Sophia whispered. Your hands held mine when my heart was heavy. You helped me as much. Younger hugged tight. Do not leave us, she pleaded. Please stay. We need you. Sophia closed eyes, overwhelmed. Alexander knelt beside, voice steady but emotional. Listen, he said softly. No one here is losing anyone. Not anymore. Girls looked at him. Sophia too. I made many mistakes, he said. I thought wealth fixed pain. I thought silence healed. I was wrong. What we needed was someone strong enough to hear our grief. Sophia gave that. I will never let her feel unwanted again." Sophia's tears flowed freely. Alexander placed hand on her shoulder lightly. "Sophia, you are not just a nanny. You are family. You are why my daughters smile again. Why this house lives. If you are willing, stay permanently, as someone they trust, love, who will never leave." Room fell silent. Older twin whispered, "You will stay forever." Younger added, "Please." Sophia covered mouth, tears streaming. She held both girls, cried into their shoulders. "Yes," she whispered through sobs. "I will stay. I will never walk away." Alexander felt warmth fill the room, warmth absent since his wife lived. He sat beside, wrapped arms around all three, forming circle of comfort, healing, new beginnings. Girls smiled softly, hearts resting. Sophia rested head on Alexander's shoulder, not romance, but relief. For first time in years, she felt safe, seen, loved. And for first time since their mother died, the twins slept without fear, knowing home whole again. The mansion no longer felt cold. A new family formed, not by blood, but by shared pain, given love, hearts refusing to leave. Dear viewers, this story reminds us some wounds hide deep in the heart. Sometimes all a grieving child needs is a gentle hand that stays. Sophia did not heal those girls with wealth or status. She healed with presence, patience, love, expecting nothing back. This story teaches family is not only blood. Family is anyone who stands beside you when the world feels empty. When Sophia opened her heart, she found healing for her own pain. When Alexander opened his eyes, he found the family he thought lost forever. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, subscribe for more stories of love, healing, hope. Comment where you are watching from and what message you take home today. If you want more emotional stories, type "more stories" in comments. You will be first to receive the next touching journey. Before you go, 3 questions. 1. What part touched you most? 2. Do you believe love can heal wounds time alone cannot? 3. Have you met someone who became family without sharing blood? We would love your answers. Thank you for watching. See you in the next story.